those were really good answers to the do now. And what we're going to do today is we're going to take a look at what we learned yesterday with regards to poetry and what we learned about rhythm and rhyme and repetition in a poem. And we're going to build on those ideas by taking a look at the same poem that we looked on yesterday. And that poem was Still I Rise by Maya Angelou. And what we're going to do today is we're going to look at the word choices that the poet uses in constructing the poem and ask ourselves, why are these words being used? Are any of these words being repeated? And how do they contribute to the meaning of the poem? So what we're going to do is we're going to break out into our groups. And when you're in the groups, the first thing that you need to consider is who is going to attack what skill. So I want you to do a round table list, and each of you take one of the stanzas that you're going to work on. And you're going to work on those stanzas to find out, first of all, what words are of most importance. What words does the author choose to bring meaning to those words? And I want you to highlight those words or underline them. And then say to yourself and answer this question: what impact do these words have on the poem? And again, each of you will do that for your particular stanza. And after you do that, you're going to share, go around the table, do a round table share. Each of you discuss your stanza, the words that you found, and why those words are particular to that stanza. And then what you're going to do again is reread that poem, because you're going to find that as you reread the poem, there are particular words that are repeated. And I want you to find the words or phrases that are repeated. And I want you to identify the words or phrases that are repeated. Say to yourself, why has the author chosen to repeat these words and phrases? And then, again, you're going to have a discussion in your group about those words and phrases and why they're repeated in the poem. And then, for your exit slip, you're going to answer this question: what do you think the message of the poet is in this poem? Okay? So, everybody, take out your poem from yesterday. You should have it out already. Break into your groups and begin work. You have about 8 to 10 minutes to complete this task, and then we're going to come back together as a whole and discuss your discoveries. Okay, let's begin. Okay, so everybody has their poem from yesterday. I realize that, but today what I've done is I printed out another copy of the poem, and I want you to read the poem again and notice what I did with this copy of the poem. Who can tell me what's happening here? Why are there two columns today? Yeah, okay, so you'll see on one side is the poem, and then on the other side, you're right, yeah, it's in red. And these are the focus questions that I want you to focus on while you're doing your group work today. So, you know what? The first thing that I want you to do is right now, everybody decide what stanzas you're going to do. And for this group, what I want you to focus is on stanzas 1, 4, 6, and 8 only. So there's 4 stanzas. Each of you right now decide which stanza you're going to be working on. So, as you're rereading now your assigned stanza, you'll notice next to each of the stanzas, there are sentence prompts for you. So, I want you to go through the stanza, and I want you to think about words that the author used that show a hardship that they had to face. So, what do you think we mean by the word hardship? Sometimes it helps to break down the word. What 2 words do you see in hardship? Yeah, so the first word is hard. Um, what do you think that means? Do you think it means hard like this countertop is hard? Or think of it in the sense of hard when you take a test and you say to your friends, oh, I just took the social studies test. It was really hard. What word could you substitute for hard there? Good, difficult. Right, so what you're looking for is hardships or difficulties that the author, or the poet, I should say, went through, or what this poet is trying to give to us, the reader. So as you look at each of the stanzas, I want you to take your highlighter and highlight the word that really speaks to something being difficult. And then in this column, you're going to finish this sentence starter. The words I highlighted are, and you're going to fill that in. And then you're going to think about those words and say, well, what is the author trying to tell me when she's using those words? So now you have to look at the words in that stanza and think about the meaning. What are these words trying to tell me as far as the meaning is concerned? And then you're going to finish the second sentence that says, they tell us, or these words tell us or tell me. And write what you think the purpose of those words are. And you're going to do that for your stanza. And then you have figured 2 minutes to do this. And when everybody's done, you're going to go around the table and each of you are going to share your responses. What are the words that you highlighted? What do you think the words are trying to tell you? Now, once this is all done and you've done your sharing, you're going to go back, and this time everybody is going to read the stanzas 1, 4, 6, and 8. And your focus this time is looking for the words or phrases that are repeated. And this time what I want you to do is I want you to take a different color highlighter, and I want you to highlight the word, the phrase that's repeated, because you're going to see that repetition over and over again. You might already know in your mind what that is, but still you're going to go back, you're going to read those paragraphs, you're going to highlight, you're going to use a different color. And then what I want you to do is count how many times it's repeated. How many times did the poet repeat that word, repeat that phrase? And you're going to enter that here, and then I want you to think about it and say to yourself, wow, the poet repeated this however many times you found. Why do you think the poet repeated this so many times? And you're going to answer your response here. Then what I want you to do is, for the exit slip, I want you to think about those hardships. Think about the meaning that those hardships conveyed to you, the reader, or told you as you were reading the poem. And then I want you to think about how many times the poet repeated those words and those phrases. What do you think the author is trying to tell you? What do you think the main or the central idea of that poem is? And then you're going to respond to that here at the bottom. I think the central idea is. Okay, anybody have any questions? Begin.